Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, April 16th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Haran-Kunso is absent. Mr. Jones, Mr. Kwiatkowski is absent. Mr. Mursky is with us by phone, and Mr. Winarski. Please rise for a moment of silent meditation and Pledge of Allegiance.
This evening, excuse me, we ask that we remember those that are less fortunate than we are in our local community as well as our global community. We ask that we remember those who have lost loved ones since the last time we were in these chambers as we go into our moment of prayer and meditation. In particular, Mr. Rush and the Rush family and the loss of his mother, who was absolutely a matriarch in this community, not just the African American community, but in the Erie community as a whole, and worked tirelessly to make it a better place for all of us. So let us please remember that family in our thoughts and prayers. And finally, we ask our God and Creator to give us the wisdom and the proper information to make the best decisions for the citizens of the city of Erie.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of April 2nd, 2014, and bills for payment on April 18th, April 25th, and May 2nd, 2014. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon.
Are there any requests for repository sales? Are there any requests for repository sales? Are there any requests for repository sales? Hearing none, citizens to be heard.
Good evening, Council President, Council members, Mayor, staff, administration, guests, those with us electronically. My name is Randy Barnes, 109 Walton Point, Erie, Pennsylvania. And the subject I want to talk a little bit about tonight was economic development. Kind of continuation from the last time we got together, because there's a great concern that, excuse me, equipment malfunction there. Needs a tightening there, but anyways, I want to think that we're doing everything we can as a council, as an administration, to get economic development in the city of Erie. Of course, I don't know if there's a liaison or how often you hear from your own Department of Economic and Community Development, but for those that don't know, there is a department here in City Hall called the Department of Economic and Community Development. And they have this year, I'd just say 2014, their budget is $1,081,000 for community and economic development. But the big thing that I think we want to ask council as citizens and to benefit the city of Erie is to get behind Representative Harkin's suggestion that we look real close at the East Erie corridor, East 12th Street corridor, for relocating the rail yard to a more appropriate location. It appears as more and more studies are being done, this is very real and very doable. And the study hasn't been released. Of course, the Develop Erie, formerly GEIDC, they had a study saying that that was the only place it would work. But that study hasn't been released. And I think it probably will be at some point because it was paid for by taxpayer dollars. It was paid for by a $497,000 grant given to that corporation back in 2010. $497,000, and that was going to pay for the studies to determine where the rail yard should be and who was going to use the intermodal. So again, I think if we got to look at that study, maybe we find where there are some things that can be done to make this work over near the Savacchio Business Park and the CSX yard in the city of Erie. So the city of Erie could benefit from some increased property taxes, maybe some increased employment. I know several of you have been to the Destination Erie meetings, and that's what Destination Erie is. That's about bringing the city and bringing people back to the city and giving them jobs, having walkable communities, walkable neighborhoods. But in order to do that, you have to provide these jobs. And I know there's a lot of discussion right now about the summer jobs for the youth. I hope whatever city council can do, they can back that effort that's begun at county council. Because economic development not only affects, it really doesn't affect me a whole lot because I'm at the end of my career, but it's that next generation. It's your children. That's who it affects. That's who it's for. That's why we're talking about economic development. And that's why you spend $1 million a year in the city for economic development. And we spend millions of dollars a year at Knowledge Park at the Develop Erie. And the county spends millions of dollars a year on economic development. So we want to make sure we're getting our money's worth, the citizens do. Because it was interesting today when I was looking at Bloomberg, this is a headline, "Tight Job Market in U.S. Cities Prompts Higher Pay." That was today on the Bloomberg News Report. I don't think they were talking about the city of Erie, were they? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens to be heard?
Thank you for hearing me. This is my first time here, so I'm a little nervous, but
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Before you give us your name and address, if you could grab, why don't you grab that second mic, the lower mic, and pull it up? Maybe that'll be easier for you. Would that come high enough?
how's that? Is that better?
That's uncomfortable for you. The worker's going to come out. One of the staff are going to come out and try and fix that for you. If you want to just take it out and hold it, maybe.
Okay. My name is John Barbell. I live at 2202 Warfel Avenue here in Erie, and my problem is a very trivial, but at this time there's extenuating circumstances I can't go into, but what I'm looking for is a ordinance on the time allotted for a porta potty to be on residential property. We currently have nothing in the zoning or in the health board code dealing with this issue. I've talked to the health board numerous times and John Ratinger from zoning, and I feel if it was a plumbing issue, a plumbing construction going on, that any major plumbing construction requires a permit. I'm a contractor, so if it would require a permit, they should require a permit to have it there. And if it's for a party or a special occasion, it should be a time allotted thing. Currently, I'm running into a problem where there's one been in a backyard for years and it's not being cleaned or taken care of. So, I'm speaking also on behalf of probably 6 or 8 of my neighbors. So, thank you very much.
Your address is 2202 Warfel?
Warfel Avenue. Yes, sir.
Can you, there's nobody in the back. We just want to get your contact information.
Sure.
And so if you could write that down and you could leave it in the mail slot right in this office back to your right. Okay? Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you again.
Thanks. That's pretty disgusting.
Got me started now for my 5 minutes.
Ready, go.
Thank you. My name is McDonald. My property is 19th and Reed. I'm seeing all of these resolutions in here sponsored for appropriations of certain amounts of money, large amounts of money. But I'm not seeing nothing in here for those centers. Maybe we got the wrong people over those centers. They're getting their pay. They're not putting no programs forward for those kids. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think the center should be ran by the peoples in their area where the centers are. The peoples in those areas should run those centers. Because if you live out in Mill Creek, Harbor Creek, way out, you're not really concerned about those centers, about those kids. Those centers haven't had any repair work done on them. You go around and look at them and you'll see that I'm not exaggerating when I tell you they need some work done on them. Anything that's not kept up will fall down. If you don't do no work around your house, it's going to fall down. You will be way ahead if you would do something for those kids, because it's going to come back to haunt you, and it's going to haunt the city too. When you're building a building, you start with a foundation. Those centers, I believe, that are a foundation for the kids. They go there and they learn things and they be around other kids, and then you have your peoples there instructing them. I think you should think about that, because later on down the road you're going to think about it. I'm seeing that that hotel down there they want to build, they don't want to pay no taxes. Then you got this other one that want to pay taxes. I don't quite understand that. I wish somebody would explain that to me. You already got two buildings down there that's not paying no taxes. That hotel and that building right across from it, they're not paying no taxes. I don't understand it. I wish somebody would make me understand it. I mean, I'm not the dumbest fella out there. I know I'm not the brightest. But I'm a long way from being the dumbest. I wish somebody would make me understand that. I don't understand that. Here you're going to, and when any time that something is going tax exempt, it's going on the head of the property owners out there, and we got enough. We got enough on our backs. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Every time you turn around, either the school board or the city, they want to raise taxes, raise taxes. That's all Joe know up there to do is raise taxes, raise taxes. The school board, they taxed out, and then they went to Harrisburg and got theirs raised again. It doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be up there for the people, but I don't see where you're doing anything for the people. You're up there for the mayor, for the administration. When you're up there for the people, you're fighting to hold taxes down. You got all that, the garbage fee. I remember when the garbage fee was into your taxes, what you paid for your property taxes. I remember that. But I don't know, somebody figured out a way to raise some more money, but the more money you get, the more money you spend. You find somewhere to put it. I think you should kind of curtail that jumping your taxes up like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Time's up, Mr. Mack.
I wish you all would consider what I've said. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Bob, are you there?
Yes, phone call dropped.
Okay. Thanks for calling back.
Thanks for picking it up. Meeting's adjourned. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, Mrs. Roby?
All right, that takes us to new business.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move the balance of the agenda tonight.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
It has been moved and second.
Any separations?
No.
No separations.
Okay, hearing none. Roll call on the moving of the balance of the agenda. Mr. Brennan? Mrs. Rankunso, she is absent. Mr. Jones? Mr. Mursky? Mr. Winarski? Mr. Witherspoon?
Mr.
That
President.
will-
I'm sorry, Mr. President. We do have some young people in the audience. I know we're kind of moving expeditiously through our agenda today, not too much on it. I know we usually do acknowledge the young people in the crowd. I don't know where everyone is from. I put my glasses back on. I see a couple of young people that I recognize, a few others from Gannon probably, it looks like, that I don't recognize. But we always just want to give you an opportunity to tell us where you're from, what class you're representing, or what program you're a part of. Is there anyone that wants to come up to the mic and get a little highlight time? Oh, come on, you're not shy. Yeah, there you go. I could tell you were coming up. I could tell. She was like, y'all really don't want to go, do you? Okay. All right, so you can tell us who you are, who your group is, and what you're representing.
Well, my name's Haley Howarth, and that's Sarah Lepietz and Amira Corals, and we're Gannon University nursing senior grads, and we're just here for part of our Nurse Power Politics class. And we just have to write about what we saw today in a city council meeting, because as nurses someday we can, come and speak to everyone like you to try to make a difference.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, they come back every couple times a year, I think. Now it's
Yeah.
pretty regular. That's cool.
You guys lucked out today. You had a nice long meeting.
The short version. And a couple other young people in the front. Don't shake your head, man. Yeah, I'm looking at you now. We won't put you on the spot, but we want to just, and I appreciate Mr. President for allowing me to make these comments and to kind of facilitate this space for a moment. It's good to have our young people, all of our citizens of any age, really, to be involved in coming to our meetings and kind of seeing what we do. Sometimes you don't really know what it is until you're actually in the space that we're in. You see how things work. Today was very quick. We didn't have a lot of old business or any ordinances. Normally, there's a lot more done in the meeting. And so the motion that I made, just for the sake of education, the motion that I made was to move the balance of our agenda, meaning there's some things on here we don't have to read through publicly. We've already read through them as a body, and we've decided to vote on all of them at the same time, so we don't go through each one. If there were ordinances on the agenda for what's called final passage or for first reading, we would have to read those publicly before we could vote on them. But since we didn't have any, we could move pretty quickly through the agenda tonight. So if you guys have any questions, pull us to the side at the end and we can answer them for you. I see a couple other young guys in the back. If someone wanted to come and say who you are or not, don't put you on the spot, but yeah, absolutely. We don't have much time. We have a lot of time, so just come on up. Don't be shy. Yeah. Our young people are worth the time, for sure. Oh, and you got the Transformer shirt on, too. My man, Optimus Prime. Okay, sorry, I was flashing back. Tell us who you are.
Me and my brother are from Troop 109, working on our merit badge for Boy Scouts. I forgot what it's called, but...
That's all right. Listen, we'll give you extra credit. Make sure we'll let your troop leader know that you did a good job speaking. Okay. So we're glad you guys are here, and thanks for sharing this time with us this evening. Okay. Appreciate it, buddy. I think that's all the young people, so I guess I'm done talking. Mr. President, the floor is yours again.
Councilman Jones always recognizes young people, and because he's still a young man,
I'm still the youngest
So,
on council, believe it or not.
I
Right?
have to recognize, does any of my senior citizen friends want to come? All right. Very good. Well, I think we can go into committee report.
We have a waive rules resolution.
Do we? Okay.
This waive rules is to replace number 3 under contracts. It was originally awarded to Amendola, but they dropped out, so it's been redone by the administration for Vala Concrete. Voting on the waive rules, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. This resolution is sponsored by Mr. Winarski and seconded by Mr. Witherspoon, that the contract for the 2014 Curb Ramps 1 project be, and the same be awarded to Vivala Concrete, 2059 West 20th Street, in the amount of $202,298,80, and the proper city officials be and are hereby authorized and directed to sign said contract on behalf of the city of Erie. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Jones.
Mr. President, can I ask a
Councilman-
question? I don't know if the administration will have an answer. Was there the second choice, I guess, were they the next
Yes.
Yes.
next.
bidder? Okay, so it just went down the natural line? And, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
The reason we're waiving the rules on this one for the students in the audience as well as the citizens of Erie is Amendola did come in as the lowest bid on this, but they didn't feel they could meet their contractual arrangements because they're too busy with other projects and weren't sure they were going to get the city project. So unfortunately, they bowed out, and the second lowest bid was Vivala Concrete. So that's why where we are tonight. I couldn't give you the exact amount, sir.
Rose?
Hang on. Amendola's bid was $1,088,468.50, and Vivala is $2,002,298.80.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay.
Okay, continuing the vote, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. And that will take us to committee reports, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let me,
Or do you wanna-
excuse me, let me try, see if Councilman Mursky have a report. You have a report, Councilman Mursky?
No report from me today, Mr. President.
Well, that disappoint me, I
I will have a comprehensive report at the next meeting, I promise.
I apologize, but I thank you, and you enjoy your vacation, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have a good evening.
Okay. Councilman Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. President. No committee report, but I wanted to talk about a couple things. One was the agreement we had for the resolution today for Little Italy. I definitely fully supported this agreement resolution, and the reason is with this application, I'm hoping that it provide the funding for the, as in the application was noted, lighting, sidewalk improvements, and other improvements for the neighborhood. But I definitely think these improvements will help the neighborhood, by really making it more attractive and hopefully bring in some more commercial activity, and also, improve the neighborhood as a whole. And I definitely want to thank the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network for all their great work, and I know Rose is here today. Thank you for being here, Rose. I did want to mention one thing about the house demolition that occurred at 125 West 21st Street. I don't know if anyone heard, but there was a house, a 130-year-old house that was demolished in the neighborhood, in that neighborhood is listed on National Historical Register. I just thought it was important to mention that the demolition process in Erie is at a point where I think it needs to be kind of looked at a little bit, because to be able to walk in the morning, get a permit, and be able to tear down the building in the afternoon, I think is just maybe the wrong way to look at it. Again, I don't want to add more red tape to the permitting process, but I think if there was some type of delay or some type of action that would be able to bring a period of time so there'd be some dialogue with the owner, I think it'd be a benefit to possibly find another solution to the demolition, or maybe there's a buyer out there. But again, the owner would always have the right to tear down their own building, but at least this would give an option, maybe a delay period, so that they could possibly find again another option to save it. But I think preserving old buildings and finding creative ways for their reuse is important for our city. Historic preservation is important, and I think financially as well as just a record of our past. So I just wanted to say a little something about that, what occurred just recently on Sunday. Also, some upcoming items. The United Way Day of Caring is coming up on April 26th. I think the events are usually occurring in the morning. Neighborhood volunteers will work in individual neighborhoods to clean up areas, and they'll have teams. If you have any questions, or maybe your neighborhood or your association's having their own event, you would give them a call. And if you don't know what events are out there or who to call, you could always talk to the United Way to get a listing. And I'm sure usually the paper has a listing of all the activities and some of the groups that are involved, and I think the times too will be listed in that report. That's it for my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Winarski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very brief this evening. Just a quick update regarding our garbage issues. At our last finance meeting, we as a council, along with the administration and our billing contractor, the Erie Water Authority, agreed in principle that we would like to move forward with the consolidation of these bills, being water, sewer, and garbage. Figuring, once again, in principle, one quarterly bill, with the water being one part of the bill, due separate, going to the sewer and the garbage, keeping those separate, but separate from water, but combined with each other. With this consolidation of these bills, it helps give the city of Erie the legal right to shut off water when these are not paid, or some type of payment arrangement is in place. The garbage delinquency issue has been our top priority since the first of the year, and I'd like to commend this council as well as the administration for moving forward on this issue. Please understand there's still technicalities, legal technicalities that still have to be addressed. But there again, next finance meeting, and actually it's 3 weeks from today, but once again, we'll tackle that first and foremost and decide and move forward where we're going to go with this to the extent of when this may start. So I want to thank the citizens, all your ideas and patience also, because as this didn't grow overnight, this isn't going to be solved overnight. But once again, it took a cooperative effort from the city council, the administration, as well as the water authority to get us moving in the right direction. So I thank everybody for that. Once again, our Erie Otters have moved on to the Western Conference Finals. As a hockey father of 4 kids, support those Otters as we move on. And other than that, just want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Thank you.
Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow is the next Water Authority meeting. I plan to be attending that tomorrow afternoon. Also, we're looking to tentatively have a study session planned for Thursday, May 1st, here in City Council chambers or in the caucus, concerning the creation of another authority for the CRIS designation in the city of Erie, and we'll hear more about that. We've been hearing some in the paper and in the media about what that is and where we're at in the process. But for us, part of our process is to to have a public hearing, and there's some things that we need to do as the city and city council. So we're well in the way of making that happen. And for us to be more informed, I spoke with Brenda Sandberg, who is the director of the Community and Economic Development Department here in the city, and we are going to have that informative study session, again, tentatively on May 1st, to kind of brief us and to keep us and get us up to par with information on how that's all going to work. Also, in relation to the delinquencies, and Mr. Winarski spoke very well to the effort and the collaborative effort and the collaborative nature of the effort that we've been showing and being very diligent. That has been a very important issue that we've been working on, not the only issue, but probably one that's gotten the most publicity in the city this year so far. So we're much closer to coming up with this series and the right combination of remedies for this problem. There's not a one answer fits all approach. It's a series of multiple pieces to the puzzle of solving this particular problem. One thing I will say quickly about that is, as he said, there are some nuances and some other dynamics that have to be worked out, some bugs that have to be worked out, because I think sometimes what we've done is we've taken a broad brush and kind of lumped all the landlords into one and all the tenants into one and all these properties into the same boat. And some of them probably need to be teased out a little bit more and found out exactly why and what processes have gotten them to be delinquent. Again, not to justify delinquency, but to get, there's some issues are very specific. And I don't think we want to paint too broad of a picture that all the landlords out here are terrible and they're not doing what they need to do, because that is absolutely not the case. So I think it's just important that we really do understand that. Excuse me. With that said, it's a work in progress, and so we're continuing to do what we have to do to do our due diligence and our best effort. Finally, we did recognize the young people in the audience. It's really good to see young people being involved, whether it's for a merit badge or whether it's for a leadership class or whether it's for, to get your nursing credentials and all you have to do for that. It's just good to have citizens in the chambers. Sometimes it's like we don't want anybody in here. We don't want to hear a lot of talking. We feel like that sometimes, but really at the essence of it, we all, I think, would agree that it's great to have an informed public. And a lot of people do watch the meetings on television, but it's always good to, again, see people in the seats. And it's not a crisis. It's filled during the crisis, but it's good to see people just coming to be informed and coming to learn. And so I'm excited about that. And my second, finally, is if you celebrate Easter or Resurrection Day or just have a great Sunday, God bless you, and our community is blessed because we have good people in it, and let's appreciate each other. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Real quick, Councilman Jones, Councilman Winarski went through the Water Authority and the collections that we're working with, that we've done with the administration and the authority. But understand, as Councilman Jones indicated, all landlords are not bad landlords, and that's why we have the word called amendments. So whatever we come up with, and once we start weeding things out, we have the opportunity to amend certain things. And we all realize on council that at some point, the landlords that are not good landlords, that don't intend to follow the rules, the renters may be hurt in the original plan. So we're working on that, and we'll make the amendments that's deemed necessary, and we'll have as least pain as possible. I need to say, get the police department a lot of kudos for what they're doing with the shootings and the robberies. It's just going rampant. I have no idea what sparked it. And I made several calls to other cities, and they are experiencing the same thing. I have no idea why, and it bothers me that you can't drive home from work without getting your window shoot out and you don't know why. And the robberies, it was outside the city, it's in the city, it's downtown. No one's safe anymore. So I say to all the citizens, be very careful. Be aware of your surroundings. Very, very important. And also to Chief Bowers, who made a young lady very happy. Some wrong was done to her about a car was taken away from her, and he made a couple calls, he investigated, and I received a thank you call from the young lady, and my advice to her is call the chief. He did all the work. And I thank you very much, and you have a happy and safe Easter. And Madam Controller.
I do not have any report.
That's a good report, Madam Controller. Administration.
I promise to be very brief. Just want to thank the Housing Authority of the City of Erie for their continued support of the summer recreation program, along with the YMCA. There were a couple of contracts on the agenda. All-in-Acts Production will once again be doing the Footlights Theater program in the city, and Penn Briar will be working on the tennis program. So we do have the summer rec guy that will be coming out in about a month. I'm hoping that we have Highmark on board as another sponsor, but there will be lots of activities and things to keep our kids busy and active during the summer. Wanted to say what a great response we had to the police applications. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know several minority men and women applications were taken out, and we were very pleased with the numbers and the recruiting that our officers did for the city. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Mrs. Roby.
City Council adjourns at 8:10. Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Jones, Mr. Winarski. Mr. Witherspoon, too, if he's still there.